Welcome back, everybody, to another video. I'm sorry, I've been trying to make the hunting ones, me and my brother. We're just gathering, we're deciding what we should do a video on because we got plenty of old vintage hunting stuff. Yeah, we're just deciding, there's a lot. We're trying to decide, like, should we do a video on this all together or that? But I've been waiting, and if I wait too long, the video is going to get way too long. It's been a long week. There was an estate sale posted on Tuesday, and in the photos they had tackle boxes, and my brother decided to go Friday because it starts Thursday. And he was like, oh, there ain't going to be no tackle boxes left. He goes there. But before we get into that, I want to show you something we bought before. But what we found, I just thought I would show it before I get into the rest. It's a vintage Fenwick. It's a vintage Fenwick tackle box. Nothing really special about it. It's a little wonky. The inside, got it from our grandmother's house. These old Fenwicks had the dates inside. It's from 1983. Nothing really special about it. It's a small tackle box. Problem is, let's see if I can get y'all show. The back, right here, it's broken because of the wire. It's annoying. We don't decide to use it, but that was just what I wanted to show before we get into the good stuff. And one more final thing. I might start doing a thing every beginning of the video. I want to show a lure, and I want to see if anybody in the comments can identify it. But this one, I do not know. I don't know if it's a bomber or not. It's a topwater, like a yellow perch design almost. I don't know. Got the two spinners up front, and it's a sideways lure to mimic a dying fish. It's definitely really old. It's wooden, and it's not that big. It has no name. Found in our grandfather's shed. But yeah, in the comments, tell me if anybody even knows anything about this lure. I guess it, like, you pop it, like you jerk it around. But yeah. That's that. But let's get into the main part of this video. But let's get back to what I was saying. He got there, and so, like, the most craziest thing was that there were two tackle boxes left. One of them, I'm going to show right now. It was filled with saltwater stuff. There was nothing really good in it. But it's like no one ever barely used it. And here it is. I put some stuff in here from the last video when I did the review on the... It's an old Flembu Adventure tackle box with the old tag. And it was filled with saltwater stuff, nasty saltwater stuff. I put some of the lures in here from the last video I made. This is new, an old flatfish, a really old flatfish. And the cotton cordell and the water dog. And I would like to show, I decided to put some old bombers that we've had in here. And some stuff in here is stuff that came in the other tackle box. In the other tackle box was filled with bass fishing goodness. There's another bomber right here. It's a better condition one. It's a smaller bomber. Inside this tackle box was this old Berkeley string, 10-pound test. You see some of it. And this is an old, I decided to put this in here. It's an old Zebco. Like, I guess like little pocket wear for weighing your fish. Weighing them big mama bass. It's definitely old. Some old school looking. I have another one, but it's a bigger one. And there's a couple lures in here from the one tackle box, and I'm going to show you. One of them, I thought it was super cool. It's an old beetle spin. Old beetle spin, nothing special. Says it on the spinner. And then there's this interesting lure I do not know nothing about. It looks like whoever had it cut the top. But it's a super old rubber top water. I don't know if this is homemade. Doesn't look homemade. Like, I do not know anything about this. I kept it because I've like never seen this before. Next one, you may see these in Bass Pro Shop, like the Rainbow Trout and all these other ones are they're like beetle spins but with rubber fish. This is a vintage, y'all probably might know what it is. I do not know what it is, but it's got the fish with the hooks. It's just like how they make them. Still, it's an older one. Has another name on the tail, but it's super hard to tell. It has a number 2 on it. There was 2 of them. The other one had the tail that was bad. And then the last one, last thing in this tackle box, is a pack of worms. You may see them. You may see them sitting there. That is like, sucks to pick them up because they're like super oily. But they're an old pack of tournament worms. Super salt high floaters. The worm the pros throw. It's a pink worm. Nothing really special. Never seen this. See the size. It's a vintage tournament worms. I've never seen a tournament worm before. It's a super huge package though. And mind you, this is just Thursday. Saturday's a different story. But yeah, there's some stuff you've already seen in this, but the big and the final one, the final tackle box, is the heavy hitter. Ooh. That one is going to have the best stuff inside. The next tackle box we're going to get into. This is one of the ones he was not passing up. It looks like the people, the guy whoever used to have it, never used it. It's brand new. It's still got the tags and everything. It's a super old. It's pretty big. Ooh, might have to clear off the table for this. It is a super old Fenwick wide body. Still got the tag. This thing is like brand new. And this baby is built. It's a Fenwick wide body, 5.6, and it's filled. There may be a few lures in here we may have stuck, but everything else that came in here is from this. There were some sad tragedies before I get into this. There was a vintage Wigglewort, which it was in a little plastic case inside, and then I guess the soft plastic melted or something melted and got inside and like got rid of all the paint. And that and a couple other ones that had to get thrown away. But yeah, now it's time to get into this big baby. And she opens up. And she's filled to the rim with lures. Vintage goodness. This is the Wigglewort I was talking about. Says it on the bottom. Sad. Conditions. This thing looked brand new. We cleaned it and it's barely put any pressure. Barely touched it and all the paint just came right off because it had been sitting in one of these plastic containers for so long. We cleaned them. Just I guess it wasn't enough. We cleaned the plastic containers and there were also a bag of saw plastics that were like random. I think they were mostly Bass Pro Shop. But without further ado, let's get into this. So the first one up is something we stuck in here, and I just felt like it would really be cool to show. I forgot the name. I knew the name. It has a name on it, but it's so hard to see. It's an old crankbait with the rubber tail. My brother bought this at a yard sale years ago. It's Tubby something. It says something in a Tubby. I guess back then when you bought the lure, you could get the interchangeable plastic. Like this is super old school and super cool. I love these old lures. I don't think there was this too. This came inside the tackle box. It's a old plastic flatfish. It was inside. No, it was inside the Flemview one. There's nothing special about a flatfish. Now, we're going to get into this now. And we have a vintage Strike Kings spinnerbait. The little blade says Strike King. Super cool stuff. Small, you see. That's how big it is. There's a couple Strike Kings. You got that Strike King. Then you got, another Strike King, a black Strike King spinnerbait. The skirts are definitely different. Nothing really special. Head's a little bigger. Now we got some hula poppers. This one's got here's a nice hula popper. Usually some of these have the names. But the two we have in here don't. And the eyes are different, I think. They're like brand new. Anybody could tell me the name of this one. Because I know it's a hula popper, but I just don't know what brand it is. Yeah. I think we have another Strike Kings. No. This one, it's got like a pose looking eyes. But I don't know what it is. It's got like that. It's got a rubber skirt, but it looks like it reminds you of the vinyl skirt that some old spinnerbaits got, like the hula poppers and stuff. It's black. It's bigger than the other ones. I like the cartoon looking eyes. Yeah, I don't know what this one is. And then we got, in this one, another Strike King. It's a white Strike King. Nothing really special. Look, just like the first Strike King one I showed you. Now, let's get to the last bit of hula poppers, and it's in this one. There's one hula popper, it's one of the best ones in here, and one of the coolest. Here's another one that is made by, I guess, the same people that made the one I just showed you. It's black with a white skirt, that vinyl skirt. Yeah. And this is one of the coolest hula poppers I've ever seen. I'm about to show you. This is a vintage miniature hula popper with the vintage miniature skirt. It's one whole thing. This never had another hook. It's one tiny treble hook. That's how big it is in my hand. That thing is small. So cool. It's one of my favorite baits in here. We have this jig with an old cream worm on the back. See how the skirt is like, it's like some parts are thick and some parts are thin, with a small little cream worm. Oh no, a Mr. Twister worm. In one video, there's something by Mr. Twister that I will show. Not into this video. It's going to be probably in a video of more old bass stuff in the collection. Super cool. Just a regular old jig. Now, this spinnerbait, it's got the old vinyl skirt. I would really love if somebody in the comments or anything could tell me what type of spinnerbait this is, because it has no name. This is an old like orange and like brown spinnerbait with the old vinyl skirt. It's like one of my favorite spinnerbaits in this entire tackle box. Guess you could say my brother hit the jackpot with this find. It's not hard finding tackle boxes. Find tackle boxes everywhere. I would really love if someone knew this. I don't know what this spinnerbait is. Yeah, super cool. And then we got a buzzbait. And this is a weird buzzbait. It's got no name. Yeah, no name. It's got a yellow, like that neon looking yellow, like spinner for the buzzbait, and it's different. It's like got 3 things on it. I guess it gives it more action. It's not that big. It's decently. Today, hit the river. Caught nice bass today. About a 1-pounder with a black vintage buzzbait. But what I caught off, I'll get into that after this tackle box. Yeah, just a normal buzzbait. It looked like it had black eyes. But yeah. And now, let's get to this side. First, we had this vintage Rapala 2-section jerkbait. Nice coloring. I love these blue Rapala jerkbaits. Nothing really special. It's how big it is. About as long as my pinky finger. Then we got another old Rapala jerkbait. Actually, this one reminds me of a newer one. I don't know. I don't know if that was one my brother threw in there. Here you go. This is another vintage Rapala 2-section one. The bill is like weird. Then we got a super cool lure I was not expecting to be in here. It's a giant, like this is a big devil horse. Vintage devil horse. It's wooden. This thing is pristine. Second devil horse ever owned. It's like a thick looking, I don't know, I've never seen one with the coloration like this. That's how big it is in my hand. Super big, super cool. Don't really see devil horses around that much. Oh, we got up here. Now, gotta stand up for this. We got this. This was something we put in here. It's another devil horse. So when I was just talking about, this is the smaller one. Definitely know this one isn't the remake. Then we got something super cool. Let's sit down for that. It's a purple, I think I have the name on it somewhere. It's an old purple cream. Forgot the name of these worms. They're like a spinning worm. With 2 hooks. There's 2 of them in there. It's like a very dark purple. How big it is in my hair. The little blade. And there's like a string running through it. Guess so you can interchange, like if the worm gets destroyed or anything, you can interchange it. Nothing really special. You don't really see these around much. And there's another one in there. It's just the other one. And now, let's get into some more stuff. In this far back, we have, and like I was not expecting this to be in here, an old school Bill Dance eel. Dance's eel. The black and white. This thing has never been used. Super rubbery. It's like it just came out the package. Super big. Because back then that probably used to work, but I have some. I've tried them. They're not the best at working through the water. And here we got a Rebel jerkbait. Nice old Rebel. And here's one of the most coolest ones. I've been looking for this lure for God knows how long. And I finally got the chance to get it. My brother made the greatest find ever. It's the Vintage Man's Worm Jerkbait, I think. I think they made 2 versions of this. They had the top water, had the blades, and then they have this one. It's like the white tail, and it's his man's right there. This bait is like, it's like in any ordinary, I don't know why they made it the shape of the worm, like, but I guess it worked. Because it looked like everybody back then had this lure. Never can go wrong with that. Then we have another pristine condition Dance's eel. And there's 2 of them in here. Maybe you see back in there. We'll get into that one last. Nothing really special. Like these things are like perfect It's always so cool to find them. I feel like everyone had that too. This was inside the bag of mystery, like, soft plastics. We got a bunch of vintage, just random vintage grubs. All kinds of them. Oh, they were special. We got a pack. Stren. Clear blue string. Like, this has never been used. The guy who used to own this never used it. Because the manual's still inside here. I'll get it out. Well, someone has been inside of here. Because you could see where they took it out, but I guess they never used it. Inside. Be very gentle. Sorry if this takes a while. Oh, look at that. Super cool. DU Point building. Shows the location. Super cool. And on this side it shows you the knots. Yeah, this string has never been used. Super old string. Does kind of look like he did use it. But like used it for like a brief second. Like he wasn't going to use it. Because the string is hanging out. I'm not going to try to get that out. Don't want to ruin it. Let's put this back in there. Looked like the guy did use it. Like, I guess he was going to use it. He took a little bit of string off. And kept the box and everything. And now, let's get 2 more worms. Soft plastics. Here we have, I don't know if these are Bass Pro Shops. They're tons of vintage lizards with the old texture backs. Got some worms, like, because these have no names on them. Usually I assume them to be Bass Pro Shops. There's like tons of them. Here's more. The lizards are the coolest ones. I love finding these old lizards. All of the baits in this entire tackle box had these cut off looking tails. They were cut into 3 sections. The cool texture backs too. We got another color. Motor oil. And we got, I think this is a chicken's foot. In the last video I made, we had some. See, these are all cut into 3 sections. Chicken's foot lures and soft plastics are never really made it big. But see, they're not made by H&H. Yeah. And now let's get into the final, the best thing that came inside here. My brother didn't even know this was in here when he bought it. Vintage Bill Dance, the Incredible Dances eel. And this is perfect. Just like the crawfish, it's for the color selector. Loving this. God, this is like I have no words. You see the old price tag was there. Can't get any more old school than that. This was the most ultimate fishing finds. Because when do you come across that? Especially old string like that. Stove perfect. But now, let's get into the last part of this video. So Saturday rolled around. Me and our family decided to have a yard sale. And it's at this big giant fairgrounds. And we decided to, me and my brother, all of us were unpacking our stuff. We were selling some hunting and fishing stuff. And I saw this woman taking out rods. And I'm like, hey, look at that woman. She's taking a rod that looks like a bait caster. And when she was pulling out some of the rods, I'm like, those are old rods or reels. I'm like, that might be an old bait caster. Well, further than I knew, I would have never thought to find one. And don't mind the buzz bait. This is what I was talking about in the tackle box. It's a vintage, I think 90s Shakespeare Ranger combo with the original rod and reel. This thing is clean. It's a little bit dusty. And the cool thing about this pops open. Someone wrote in the inside, underneath the thing, they wrote 10-pound test. Like most of these, they have the old flipping button. So now, it's just like the push button ones for kids. You push it down, you hold it down to lock it, and then you throw, and then and that goes back to normal. This rod and reel, for being its age, and usually like Shakespeare, they've been making reels since like the 70s. And usually these, like it's plastic, like it's hardly no metal. Usually you cannot rely on them. Usually they're weak, they don't really work good. Not this rod and reel. This thing works like a charm. It's easy to adjust. It's like overall one of like the best vintage rods ever. And this caught its first ever bass in probably 20 something years. Like I was saying in the tackle box, I used this black buzz bait and caught that bass, that bedded grass bass with the old Shakespeare. Amazing find. And there was something else I bought from the woman that was cool. And before I get into the woman, I meant to show this. I don't know what I was thinking before I made the video. My brother also bought this. Shakespeare used to make plenty of kid rods. And no section, whatever. It's a vintage Shakespeare kids rod. Oh, and this thing was nasty. Sat here cleaning this thing all day. I had to clean the inside. The rod was nasty. It's a 2-section, but it works. It always says squeaky. Usually these old kid rods, like they're not the rubber, good feeling in your hand, big. They're small and it's like not really good when your hands get bigger. But they're still fun to use. You can take them out to an old pond and catch some big panfish. It's original rod. It's aluminum. I don't think it's aluminum, but it's usually. And in one video, I showed 2 Shakespeare. Actually, no. One South Bend and one Shakespeare. The Shakespeare was like a very heavy. Now it's a bass one. I think these are basically from the same time period because the rods are very similar. But now let's get into the woman. So I decided to come back. I decided to come back because she had another rod I wanted. And they had a reel, and I didn't pay attention because I was too worried about getting the bait caster. And when I bought it, I finally saw the reel. The reel that's on it now, I changed it out because I was going to take it. But I guess I haven't shown this reel off anyway. There's 2 reels I got to show. It's a older Abu Garcia 2-section rod. Nice spinning open face rod. But and then on it is an old, I guess 1980s Shimano. Always so hard to get used to these things. It's got the old trigger. Forgot what the trigger did. But there's nothing really. The rod, it sucks is that you can see that something happened. Didn't show the rest. Nice. Definitely wasn't passing it up. It's hard to find these old Abu Garcia rods. The reel that was on it, when I got it, I looked and I said, that's a Shimano. I think it's 90s. I'm not sure. Well, what's super cool about it is that it's a Shimano open face. It's got the on and off. And it's got an old wooden handle. And usually the Shimanos with the wooden handles are like obscure and stuff to find. But this thing is like perfect. Still has the original string on it. Drag was loose. And I got it. Tighten the drag up. And I try to look this reel up and I can't find nothing on it. Yeah. Shimano. I looked this up and I can't find it. I can find the one that is in this version. But, yeah. And now, there's another find I made. So we were sitting up there, me and my brother were sitting there talking. I'm like, hey, look, there's a guy taking out rods all the way across there. I ran over there and it was a rod with a reel. I traded the rod in with my brother. That might come up in another video, but this is the main thing I really wanted to show. The guy wanted $10 for it, and when I saw what it was a steal. It's an older, I'm trying to find a date, Quantum Heart, or Heat. Quantum Heat reel. I think it's from the 90s, but the push button is like telling me otherwise, but I don't know. This thing is clean. Didn't even need no cleaning. It's got the old handles. Usually they're black, but they're gray in this. Old button. Works fine. This thing is so good. It's hard to come past. These days, it's hard to come past these old bait casters. Especially ones like this. Nothing really special. I got a Quantum rod on it. But, and this one was the most exciting find ever, like a yard sale for me. Me and my brother were walking around. We did 3 rounds around the place because people were still pulling in. And it was like, I'd say about 10 o'clock, and this guy was set up there, and I'm like, he was never there before. He did a couple stuff out. We saw a Plano tackle box. I'm like, well, he's got some. I saw rods. Ran over there. My brother saw a good Plano tackle box that will pop up in another video. And I saw a rod hiding inside of this heater. I'm like, oh, what is that? I was afraid it's going to be some dumb, stupid bluegill rod that no one's ever heard of, but something caught my eye. I've seen this in videos, and I was like, oh my god. I looked in the inside, I saw the name. I ran to my brother, I said, look, and he almost freaked out because it's so hard to come by these. I found an original Lose bait casting rod with the old sticker. Lose speed stick. This is just one whole section. Usually I see people with these this comes off and it's like in 3 sections. This thing looks like this guy only used it once, because you could see he had something in there because some of the stuff's in it. But look at that. I about freaked out because you never can find these, and they go for a lot of money online. Like, it's perfect. Super stiff than the other ones though. Lose speed stick. Like the ultimate old school find. I don't know the exact date on this. I know they were making Lose reels in the late 70s. I think they started making them in like 78, 79. But I do not know the exact date of this rod. But you could see that thing is awesome. One more look at it. It's like super clean. I have to say, this is the sturdiest old bass rod I've ever seen. We did buy a Berkley one that might pop up in another video. That Berkley one and this one is the only stiffest old school bass rods I've ever seen. And it's this is one of the cleanest ones I've ever found. You wanted $10 for it. I was like, say no more less. She's coming home with me. Now my mission, find, lose, reel. And that's going to be a hassle. But I can probably find it one day. One day I will. Well, guys, we did it. We made it to the end of the video. Leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and leave a thing in the comment. Let's see if I can get it. For this bad boy. Because I really would love to know what this dude is. It's sitting around and it's been bothering me. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Might have something even better in it.